Welcome to a very special holiday episode of We Roguelike It. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
I hate you.
I want the record to be written that I did not come up with the idea for this episode, but I wholeheartedly stamped it because
Yeah, of course
by
you did.
golly, this is a great episode. So we're gonna be ranking.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. You didn't come up with the title for the episode.
No, I didn't. Well, you came to me and said, "Hey, Boston, how about we rank all the games we played this year?" And I said, "Heck yeah!" Anyways, we're gonna be ranking all 12 games that we played on We Roguelike It this year because I have a problem and I'm infecting my friends. So, if you haven't listened to our Game Club of the Year episodes, this is going to follow a similar format where we're going to go in chronological order of the 12 roguelikes we played this year, and we're going to rank them. Will this take 15 minutes? Will this take 45? Hopefully not, because I have some Destiny to play. But we're gonna we're gonna rank these bad boys.
Making sure your priorities are in order. I see how
it's Destiny night. I have some peeps over there. They're probably running a new dungeon. It's fine. All right, let's start off.
I still haven't done that.
We'll get you soon. Let's start off at the very beginning. Enter the Gungeon. Good job. You're on the list. That was the very first game of the year.
So we're just gonna gold stamp that now. Like, let's just get the chisel out, shall we?
It's probably going to be pretty high. Yeah, you know. Enter the Gungeon is a classic for a pretty good reason. And it may be brutally hard, but it also has about 50 bajillion things in it, and all of them are puns. So,
yep.
You know, that's pretty high on the list.
Still gets me. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is still one of the best titles of a video game ever.
It's so good.
An expansion,
yeah.
I should say.
Oh my god. All right, our second one here is Flint Hook. So
it's definitely not as good as Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not as good as Enter the Gungeon. Man, Flint Hook is such. It's beautiful. It's such a cool idea. It's mean. Its difficulty is officially mean.
Its difficulty is mean. The achievements don't pop on the Xbox version. Thanks, game.
Right.
And the controls are just not solid at all. It's like Flint Hook is your quintessential Alpha Protocol Award nominee. It's like there's so much stuff there to like, but the problem is, and I'll be damned if we ever do it, but you can't give a roguelike an Alpha Protocol.
Sure.
Although technically you can, because I give it to Descenders, but that's different.
That's not the point.
It's hard to give an Alpha Protocol award to a roguelike, I should say. Because Descenders has that charm, whereas Flint Hook's just like so much good there. So much positives.
It's so close to greatness.
And then, like, my biggest issue with it is those controls every single time.
And I always find it funny that people are like, well, of course you have to play it on mouse and keyboard. And it's like, that sounds more impossible. Yeah, like, I appreciate that you think I'm good at that, but that was me like 30 years ago, man. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Flint Hook. Next game up here has been Heroes. Kind of our dark horse this year of... Yeah, like, hey man, this game is cool as hell. How did this happen?
Yeah, Plants vs. Zombies active time battle game. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, like, just a real wild thing. For me, I think I'd squeeze it between the two of those.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I still haven't unlocked 90% of the skins in that game. It's so dense with content.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. That Has Been Heroes is one of those, like, if you really like roguelikes, I feel like that's a game you got to play because it's just a cool thing. Like, it's just it's one of those ones you just like go play it, go pick it up, go play it. It's just neat.
And if you're looking for one roguelike to last you, I don't know, 2 years.
I mean, we'll get to Grifflands later.
someone call Monkey. Find out how long it took him.
That's right. 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 Oh, this one's gonna be tough. Spelunky. You know, the old,
Only a legendary one.
yeah, only a classic for good reason. Um, man, we were talking in the previous episode about simplicity being a game's weakness and strength. And I feel like the thing I really respect out of Spelunky is that there aren't that many items. It's the polar opposite from Isaac, where Isaac has now 750, 800 items, and Spelunky has like 10, 12 maybe? I mean, but
Now,
that might be reaching.
Here was my question.
Sure.
You are a known Spelunky non-fan.
I've never.
You respect it, but you
Yeah,
don't
but I've
enjoy
never
it.
clicked with it. Like I play it, and I'm like, yeah, this is good, but like, it's not. I'm never playing Spelunky and I
You're
die,
never
and
gonna
I'm
do
like,
a Yama run.
yeah, and like I'm never sitting here being like, I want to finish this to go play more Spelunky. You know, like I want to let's go play some Spelunky. You know, like it's never like that, but I do respect the hell out of it. It's a great game.
Where does this go for you?
I'm fighting about whether it should go above or below Has Been Heroes. I definitely don't think it should be at the bottom of the list. For me, it doesn't beat Gungeon. Because, man, Gungeon's just... both Spelunky and Gungeon play so tight. Like, they're such great controlling mechanic games.
Speaking of controls, Flint Hook.
Yeah.
KD side eye at the
Get
bottom
down
of the
there.
list.
I don't know. Where are you thinking it lands
For
in this
me, it
list?
goes between Gungeon and Has-Been.
Yeah?
Just because it is that quintessential roguelike of, yeah, there's nothing that carries over, so it's a more traditional roguelike in that sense.
Sure.
But at the same time, like you said, it's so simple you don't need anything to carry over. And then it's one of those games where if it does bite you and if it does get its hooks into you, there is so much depth to be had in that game.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous how much stuff goes into that game.
That's true. All right. I can agree with that. So Spelunky goes there at number 2. Oh boy, Into the Breach. You know, another classic.
Did we seriously play Into the Breach this year?
Yeah, we really did. The FTL team says, hey, FTL was really good, but what if we made a better game? Oh, Into the Breach is really good.
No, crap, dude.
Into the Breach probably sits at number 2 for me.
Honestly, I was thinking that's where you would put it.
Uh-huh. Where are you thinking?
For me, 3. And I think the only difference here is because we are fans of different kinds of games. You are the quintessential. I'm sorry, does that have NSRPG functionality in it? I will play it.
I'm sorry, did I see a grid? Yes, please. You know, like.
Yes. Whereas me, I'm like, oh god, it's got a grid. What type of game is it? I don't want to play it.
Oh, look, a game for nerds.
It's going to take a franchise I'm obsessed with to get me to play my first 4X game in decades. So, which, like, no joke, I'm legitimately wearing the t-shirt from.
Yeah, Moon's t-shirt says "Fear is the Mind Killer" along with the rest of the creed.
Litany. It's a litany. It's the litany against fear.
There you go. I would be okay with putting it at number 3 because I feel like I feel like it's so close between the two of them that I could be any other day. I'd be like, oh, of course it's number 3. Oh, we're Spelunky. Come on. Yeah, let's toss that at number 3. Downwell. Downwell.
Has-Been and Flint Hook. It has to go between those two. I love the game. I genuinely do. But Has-Been is so unique. And Downwell is unique too, but also at the same time kind of not that unique. You're falling. It's just inverse Mario.
It shows all of its cards at the beginning. The final boss is different. but not different enough to say like, oh, it's a visual novel now, that sort of thing. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, Moon, put on the gloves.
Here we go.
Descenders.
Now's my turn.
Yep.
Where does this go for you?
My knee jerk without thinking of it is number 4. So after Into the Breach.
Okay.
I think Descenders.
You liked this, but you struggled with it a little bit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Descenders is one of those games that they didn't have the budget. Totally fine. That I don't think we've ever held that. I loved dungeon encounters this year. I'm not going to hold any game against not having a budget. But I think they beat their budgetary restraints by just having like 20 gallons of heart, and they just dumped all of it into this game. I think it's one of those games where it's like, man, a small team made this game and they loved it. Like, they just loved the hell out of this game, and they played it, and they got it to a mirror sheen and put it on Game Pass. And I was like, we love this game. Hope you do too. Enjoy.
So my question then as well is like, well, actually, I should say not my question, but my statement is I would put it number 4 too, by the way.
Okay.
So it looks like that's where it's going to go. Well, if you would have told me when I first started playing Isaac that, hey, this is a roguelike, and in a couple of years you're going to discover that somebody made a Dave Mirra roguelike in a Tony Hawk game, I would have been like, no, they didn't.
Right, come on, those don't go together.
Like, don't get me wrong, we've given credit like the robot spaceship game where it's like an anime at the beginning and it does like the VHS things. Like, give that all the points in the world for style, and appropriately so, because it does do it.
That's
or it's not doing. I don't know.
I don't know. Play too many of these things. We didn't play it this year, so whatever. Oh, Galaxy. There it is.
Yes, there we go. You give Galaxy like credit for that. You give 20XX credit for being Mega Man.
Yeah.
You know, you got games which are similar, like Hades. I'm not similar in quality, similar styles, like Hades. Right. Nuclear Throne is kind of similar.
Sure.
One we played this year, the Curse of the Dead Gods, is all kind of similar.
Oh, yep.
At 0 point did I ever think that a downhill mountain biking game would conceivably work as a roguelike, but they do.
It's very much like when it clicked that Dead Rising 1 was a roguelike, and we're like, oh, okay, cool.
Like, yeah, I love Descenders.
Descenders is a cool thing.
If you still haven't given it a shot, now that it's got a Series X update, definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, and on every other platform, it's on sale pretty often too for like $7, like, which is more than worth it.
And credit that creator for being one of the few to come out and say, hey, here's what the issue is with Game Pass, when nobody else would talk about it.
Yeah.
That dev came out and was like, yo, since we put the game on Game Pass, we've sold twice as many copies on Steam, and like
we're making money hand over fist.
Yeah, for every one copy that gets 2 copies that gets downloaded, somebody buys it on Xbox. So go away.
Our next game here is Ironcast, our semi-match 3 steampunk robot fighting Victorian England roguelike. Oh, that's all?
Yeah, that's all. Who knew?
Man, Ironcast is real good.
But, let's face it, there's a problem here with Ironcast. Despite coming into this year, or into this recording, thinking, we didn't play that much this year. Or the games we played weren't that good this year. This is just because we have a short-term memory. So it's like, well, you know, clearly we played Dungreed this year. It's like, no, we didn't. We played at least 5 genre-defining roguelikes, you might say. Right. And I love Ironcast, and I love the stupidness of it and everything like that. But for me, it's between Has Been and Downwell because as at the end
Exactly
of the
where I was
day,
going to put it.
it
Yeah.
doesn't stand with the top 5. It
Yeah,
just doesn't.
it's a really good game, and I like it a lot. Even kind of with its brutal difficulty, I will never beat it, and I'm okay with that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't think it hangs with the rest of the stuff here.
Oh, speaking of not hanging,
Curse of the Dead Gods. What a
one might say
cool
it was cursed.
heyo.
Ah,
Curse of the Dead Gods, like, I respect the hell out of this game. The art style is great, the combat feels good. I like the FTL style, kind of making your path in each dungeon. Just for me, it didn't come together. Like, it wasn't more than the sum of its parts. It was just kind of fine.
it felt formulaic. I know it
Yeah,
probably wasn't designed that way,
right.
but it feels that way. Like,
Yeah.
and again, the problem with this is it hits Game Pass the same week that Hades hits Game Pass. I
Hmm.
mean, come on.
But
I
Curse
feel bad.
Dead Gods also, I feel like one of those ones that if it had come out like 5 years ago, it probably would have been a huge hit. But
Hmm.
being released in 2021, it's like, yeah, it's good. It's a
Yeah,
solid roguelike. Like if you're looking for a good one, you Curse of the Dead Gods is good.
and as much as I hate to say this about it, it legitimately has nothing unique about
Yeah.
it.
It comes
And
pretty close, but I think especially after
yeah,
playing something like Neon Abyss, it's sort of like,
mhm.
yeah, we saw all that stuff before.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like Neon Abyss is again, it's very much a bunch of parts from other roguelikes put together to into one. Like
Yeah.
it's got the heaven and hell system from Isaac, it's got the companions from Isaac. There's a lot going from Isaac in that game. Um, but with this, it just doesn't feel like it's got the heart to it. And
Yeah.
yeah, you could say the same thing about Hades. Like, yeah, okay, Hades has got nothing new about it. Okay, but it's got some of the tightest controls in any video game ever, let alone a
Hmm.
roguelike. It's got some of the best combat. Oh, and by the way, it's a fully voice acted roguelike with a legitimate story that makes you go through it at least 10 times to get to the end of it.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay. Hades isn't doing anything unique, honestly.
So are we looking at putting this above or below Ironcast? I feel like that's the decision here. Unless you want to put
Yeah.
it below Downwell.
No, I think it sits with Ironcast. I just don't know if it's above or below.
I
Honestly,
Go ahead.
you go ahead.
I feel like it goes below Ironcast
Hmm.
because I think
I could see it
Ironcast
there.
Ironcast is Ironcast is just a cool match 3 roguelike, like kind of match 3, quote unquote. And I think
Yeah.
it does a lot. It's inventive in a lot of what it's doing, and I think it, to me, just like Curse of the Dead Gods, like Ironcast doesn't fully come together all the way, but I think you see a lot of flashes there where it's like, oh, all right, yeah, we got something here.
Yeah. I could go with that, definitely.
All right.
Ah,
Oh,
crap,
there's the hard
dude.
one. Hand of Fate 2. Played that this year. Oh, boy. I'm going to let you go first because I liked Hand of Fate 2 way more than you did.
Yes, that you definitely did.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's really hard. I'm struggling for myself where it goes because looking at like our top 5 here so far is real good. For anyone that's watching the video version, our top 5 from 5 to 1: Has Been Heroes, Descenders, Into the Breach, Spelunky, Enter the Gungeon. I have an idea where I would put it.
I have an idea too, but I don't think you're gonna like this.
Okay, lay it on me.
I think Hand of Fate 2 goes at number one.
Excuse me. That is definitely not the response that I was expecting to hear from you because my place for Hand of Fate 2 is going to be number 4.
Oof. Oof.
I'm it's not bad. I mean, you got 3 classic roguelikes here.
That's true.
I think when you look at something like Into the Breach, Into the Breach. No, let's start. I would have no problem putting this at number one, but my thought process is, and when you look at Into the Breach, that is its idea with like every piece of fat trimmed off that meat, and is just it is its mechanic so finely tuned. Like there's nothing extra in that game.
And the same could be said about Spelunky too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But then at the same time, we also have what could be considered a bloated mess sitting at number one.
And their gungeon is like it's a
It's a bloated
wild
mess.
beast. Yeah, like it's a lot. Like it's I'm kind of glad they just stopped with that game, because it's like, look, our engine can't take any more of us touching it. We got to make another game which it's largely bug free. Just we got to leave it.
So here's why Hand of Fate goes number one.
Okay.
Because despite not being new in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
it hasn't had a lot of work done to it over the years.
Sure.
Because you got to keep in mind, we are also viewing Enter the Gungeon after 60,000 patches and 5
Right.
different expansion packs. We are
Yep.
viewing that as a completely different product from when the game originally came out.
Yep.
Hand of Fate 2 came out, didn't sell very well, and the studio closed.
Yeah. Like that's it. That's that game's story.
All you're gonna get.
Yep.
And I love everything, almost everything they did to Hand of Fate to improve it to Hand of Fate 2.
Mm-hmm.
I love so much about it. I still prefer Hand of Fate 1 myself,
Sure.
because there are little tiny areas where Hand of Fate 2 does, I think, go too much. Like there's too many different kinds of chance games,
Yeah.
and your odds at the different chance games are obviously affected by your companion, which is a lot more forethought than you used to need in the old one. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. All in all, I would say Hand of Fate 2 is a more well-rounded package. Because
Sure.
you can have a run in Hand of Fate 2, and even if you don't do a lot, you're still making a lot of progress. You're still getting those little chips, you're still aiming for the stories, you're still figuring out all that kind of stuff. And not to mention, I haven't played Hand of Fate 2 much since we played it for the show.
Mm-hmm.
That endless mode is something to behold.
Oh man, I forgot about the endless mode. All right, that mode is you and I were going into it, and like I feel
We were
like
basically just expecting like a row of cards, you go through it, and you just keep going in a straight
get to
line.
the other side. Ooh, another dungeon, and it turns out no, it's a super cool mode. Like I had behind the scenes, I think we talked about it during the show, but I had just tried it on a whim, where it's like, all right, I feel like I should try this. Like, we should try it before the show just to see what it is.
Most endless modes are garbage.
100%
out the way.
Yeah, and I tried it. I think I sent Moon a text like half an hour later. It's like, hey, we need to talk about endless mode on the show. I need you to give it a shot before the show, and just like
I would not have touched it if you hadn't sent me that text.
Yeah, and I think both of us tried it, and we're like, that's wow. Okay, cool. That turned out to be great. All right, yeah. Unfortunately, I had forgotten about endless mode and Hand of Fate 2, and I didn't even touch the DLC stuff. There's 2 DLC packages that came out with new companions and new whole new campaigns and stuff. I haven't even come close to touching that.
And just the pure base amount of campaigns that are in the base game. There's like 15 or something.
21, 22, something like that. 1 for every Arcana. So maybe that's 23. I don't know. There's a lot. Like way more. I feel like each one is bigger and has more depth than any of the ones that were in Hand of Fate 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with putting it.
Hand of Fate 2 goes at number 1.
I can agree with it. I like it. Oh, Griftlands. Oh, Griftlands. There's just...
Why did we play so many legendary roguelikes this year? Like,
Griftlands, there's so much of you. You're so extra, as the kids might probably... The kids probably said that like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
They're
because
just
probably legitimately 5 years ago.
yeah.
I believe
You're
it's
so
base
big.
now.
Yeah. You're so big, Grifflands. Like this to me, this is the polar opposite of Downwell. Where Downwell is like, here's our mechanic stretched to its limits. Grifflands is like, what if we tripled those mechanics? Nope. I want to put in more mechanics. Here we go. Metal system. Let's go. Whoops. One you haven't even seen yet. Let's do it. It's just like, there's so much here. And it's so good.
Yeah, and the art, it's clay, so the art style is
Yeah.
killer.
It's written super well. The art style is great. I feel like for as long as each run is, your decisions genuinely do matter. Not on a meta progression standpoint. Like if this person hated you or was dead in your run number 2, run number 3, the slate's been wiped clean. So it's not like this dude still hates you. Like that would be a much different game. But I like the fact that you're like, oh, you killed this dude's friend. Now he really hates you. Oh, you ran into a random encounter with him. He's gonna try and murder you because you just murdered his friend. Like, there are some genuine consequences.
You killed one god, and then the whole company hates you.
Exactly. Yep.
And it does that thing as well, where it's like, oh, you could provoke this person, and then they attack you, and then when you kill them, it doesn't do nothing,
Right.
Because they started.
Yeah, they attacked you first. You liquored them up, and then you talked them into getting pissed, and then they attacked you.
I love Grifflands. I genuinely do. I have
Ditto.
not played enough of Grifflands.
Again, like Darkest Dungeon, no human has. Like,
This goes below Has Been Heroes for me. Because I think the mechanics of Has Been Heroes combat system are not better, but definitely more refined than that of Grifflands, because Grifflands is a lot, dude. There's 6 different types of like combat
Yeah.
you essentially have to keep track of.
Yep.
Like there's a lot going on in that, and I get that's one of the reasons why the runs are so long is good, because then you get that whole range.
Right.
But at the same time, dude, it's 3 people, 2 mechanics each. Like,
right. I could agree with that. I think like you said, it's a really great game. It's just, how does it hang in the rest of this, list of like, half of this list is like classic roguelikes, like some of the most classic of all time.
3 of these are legendary, at least.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so that's underneath Has Been Heroes.
Yeah, that's where I'd have it, if I'm honest.
All right, we got our last one, Into the Pit.
I like Into the Pit. I genuinely like Into the Pit. The problem is, it's not perfect in a lot of different ways.
Oh, for sure. It's good, but
Yeah.
I would be hard pressed to call it great.
Yeah.
It certainly is good.
My question is, does this go between Downwell and Curse?
I think for me, I'd probably put it above Curse of the Dead Gods, because I think for me, both of those are fairly similar things, where you're clearly kind of taking a lot of inspiration, a lot of notes from games that development team clearly loved a lot. But I think where Curse of the Dead Gods is kind of fine, it like maybe doesn't crib the best parts of those other games. I feel like Into the Pit kind of nails its thing. It nails its aesthetic, like the early 90s pre-hardware accelerated first-person shooters aesthetic. It nails the speed, controls are super tight, and it's good, but it's not the game where I'd say like, oh, you need to go play this.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Between Iron and Curse.
Yeah.
Now, here's the biggest question.
Yeah.
Out of everything on this list, taken off Enter the Gungeon because we know you never stop thinking about that.
That's true.
Has any of these games jumped into your head randomly after we've played them?
Hand of Fate 2. Hand of Fate 2 and Into the Breach. Into the Breach is always installed on my Switch, and every once in a while I see it and I'm like, yeah, all right, let me play a little bit of that. I'll play like a run and probably fail and be like, this game is so good. Oh man, I could probably be really good at this game if I just stick with it. Oh well, anyways. And Hand of Fate 2 is just, I keep thinking about those campaigns I haven't beaten where it's like, yeah, the one where you start with no health and food doesn't heal you. How am I gonna beat that?
Mm-hmm.
How am I gonna do that one? Someday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you?
For me, it's Hand Gungeon does do it. Does jump into my head every now and again because I'm always like, it's installed. I should play it.
I could just play it right now.
But that's a lot of game.
Yeah,
it's always
for sure.
the thing I come back to is that is a lot of game.
Man, that last unlockable secret character they put in is so good. God.
But then honestly, like the thing that's haunted me since I played it is Descenders. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like that is one of those games that legitimately just stuck up on me, grabbed me, and I was just like, oh, by the way, you're never gonna forget about me ever.
Yeah, it got its claws in you. Something good.
It's like, yeah, I just landed a quadruple backflip off a giant jump while jumping over a train through a ring of fire to make it through to the next level. It's like,
yeah, what have you done today? Yeah. All right, let's talk about our list overall from bottom to top. Flinthook, Downwell, Curse of the Dead Gods, Into the Pit, Ironcast, Griftlands, Has Been Heroes, Descenders, Into the Breach, Spelunky, Enter the Gungeon, and at top, Hand of Fate 2. I think you can look at this list and think, man, we had a really good year for roguelikes. Like, there have been some years where it's like, we played some real just stinkers. Yeah, like just real things we just really just did not like. And even Flinthook had its redeeming qualities. Like, it's at the bottom for all the other reasons we talked about, but like there's still a lot of redeeming qualities to it. So like, man, this year was real good.
Don't forget, dude, last year we played Below.
Yeah, like, woof. poor Below, man. Just like, talk about a missed opportunity of just like, you had the idea and you had everything and it just tripped. Like, and it landed on its face right before the finish line. Like, you got so close. It just didn't come together.
Here is the fun part for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we've been doing this show for about this specific show, I should say, for 3 years and change.
Right.
Every year, whether we wanted to or not, we played one of the greats.
Sure, like whether we stumbled on it or we played it purposefully.
Well, we started with Hand of Fate.
Right.
Legitimately, the first game we played was Hand of Fate, so sure.
Well, and we have Everspace in there too, where we played it and we're like, this is genuinely an incredible roguelike. Like, this is... I did not see this coming.
So, like, our first quote-unquote year, which was only 4 months, roughly, Hand of Fate and Crypt of the Necrodancer, by the way.
Jeez. No big deal. Just, 2 classics.
Our second year, Darkest Dungeon, say what you want, whatever.
Sure.
Okay. Risk of Rain.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Our third year, Nuclear Throne.
Right.
Dead Cells.
Okay.
Hades.
Ooh.
And then this year, we've got, obviously,
right,
Gungeon. And Fate 2.
I with you reading out that list, I feel good about the balance we have on the show. Like, we're not all just being like, oh, the randomizer picked, oh, another 10 out of 10 RPG. It's like, no, we're going to play this thing. Whoops, it's Sunless Sea. That's bad.
Which, funnily enough, was our second episode. Our second game was Sunless Sea.
I played so much Sunless Sea, just being like, I'm going to get to London. This is going to happen. Nope. It's not happening. Yeah, I feel good that we're kind of playing. This year seems especially good compared to some previous years, but I feel like we're playing some real good stuff and we're playing some real dogs, and that's kind of the balance I like out of a show like this.
Yeah, I think when you do this top 10, and especially when we do the Game Club top 10, it's always one of the things where you're just like, oh, well, I know what's bottom of the list instantly.
I know what I want on top of the list. We all agree what's on bottom.
And like, that's usually a good sign, because it's like, okay, we definitely hitting the full range. We're hitting some of the best and some of the worst all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that's our list. That's our 2021. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening this entire year. Moon and I greatly appreciate it. We do have the best community on the internet, and I love when any of you are playing the roguelike with us. Sometimes misery loves company, and sometimes it's like, oh god, this game's real good, and we all get to celebrate it.
I can't remember if Mackie was the one who originally started playing Hand of Fate after we started playing it and talking about how good it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Next thing you know, the entire Discord was just full of him saying, Hand of Fate 2 is great too, guys!
Yep. Yeah. So, sincerely appreciate it, and we'll see you all next run. Bye.
No, we won't. Because before we sign off, something I didn't do in the main show, and I'm an idiot because I forgot to do it this year.
Yes.
Thank you, Boston.
Me? Oh, thank you.
Not the listeners. Thank you in your own
We already
special
thanked
way.
you.
Yeah, you already got your just dues. That's fine.
That's right.
Chill your beans out a little bit.
Right.
No, because a lot of the time, all the rest of us do is show up, talk for a little bit, and then leave. Occasionally, there are other shows that happen, things like that, whatever. But the majority of the time, it's you doing the work. It's you sitting there of a Sunday night after we've all finished and we've all buggered off, and we're going to go sit there and play our video games and eat our pizza, which I'm going to do after this.
Yeah.
It's you sitting there editing everything together, making sure everything, especially with the chapter notes that you've started putting in this year as well, which are super helpful. Like, and nobody ever says thank you, and nobody ever says good jokes when
I don't expect anyone to find my jokes funny. Those are for me.
Yeah, not Destiny. Whoops, Destiny is one of my favorites from this year, I think.
Yeah, I get to have some fun with chapter notes every once in a while.
But you do all that work and for nothing. I mean, I think we might be breaking even on the Patreon or close to thereof, but it's still
we are. Thank
money.
you. Thank you to all of our patrons. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Get 2 week early access to this show. Wink.
And it's you who does that. It's you who, before the patron, you were the one who paid for everything too. So get more patrons. Tell more people who have money, because
tell your rich friends.
Yes, Boston's owed like 10 years of back patronage. Just I'm saying.
That's right. Well, thank you, Moon. I greatly appreciate that.
And I'm sure I speak for Nimp and Musum and everybody else involved when I say that as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you as always, everyone. And I believe we're off next week. So we're all going to take a roguelike break. And
you'll get it when you get it. That's the important lesson here.
That's right. It'll happen. And we'll see you all next run. Bye.
Bye.